What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of OSOROSHII Saturday. Thank you so much for your support with last week's first episode of 2016. Guys, if it wasn't for how nice you guys are, how supportive, how inspirational, I don't know if I would be still making this series 3 years later. And I just want to take the time at the beginning of this episode to just say thank you. Guys, it means a lot. Every share, every like, every comment that encourages me, every story you send me, it means a lot, guys. This is what keeps the show going. Thank you so much. Please, if you love this show, hit that big like button. Please subscribe, and please share this video as many places as you can. The more I see it viewed, the more I want to make. Alright guys, let's jump right into it. Our first story is creepy news, and it's from the Asahi Shimbun, that's the Asahi newspaper, and it is a story from Sendai. It says, taxi drivers report ghost passengers in area devastated by 2011 tsunami. Sendai. In early summer 2011, a taxi driver working in Ishinomaki, Miyagi Prefecture, which had been devastated by the tsunami a few months earlier, had a mysterious encounter. A woman who was wearing a coat climbed into his cab near Ishinomaki, and the woman directed him, "Please go to Minami Hama District." The driver, in his 50s, asked her, this area is almost empty. Is that okay? Now, if you don't know, the Tohoku Earthquake caused a tsunami that wiped out almost all of that area. I'm talking it's down to foundations of houses and buildings. There's nothing there. Nobody's living there right now. It's being completely rebuilt. The woman said to him in a shivering and shaking voice, "Have I died?" Surprised at the question, the driver looked back in his rear seat, and no one was there. Now, before you start to make a judgment, wow, that sounds totally hokey. Everybody's heard the story of the passenger who gets into the car and disappears before they get to the station or district or arrival point, but it gets better. Listen close. This is a good one. Tohoku Gakuen University senior majoring in sociology included the encounter in her graduation thesis, in which 7 taxi drivers reported carrying ghost passengers following the March 2011 Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami. Her name is Yuka Kudo, and let me just say, I'm going to show a picture of her now. Hands down, cutest ghost hunter I have ever seen. My goodness, this girl. 22 years old, she went to Ishinomaki every week in her junior year to interview taxi drivers waiting for fares. She asked them, "Did you have any unusual experiences after the disaster?" She asked the question to more than 100 drivers, and many ignored her. Some even became angry. However, 7 different drivers recounted their mysteries and experiences to her. Another taxi driver, who was in his late 40s, told of an unexplainable occurrence. According to the driver, a man who looked to be in his early 20s got into the taxi. When the driver looked into the rearview mirror, his passenger was pointing forward. The driver repeatedly asked the man for a destination. Then the passenger replied in a shaking voice, "Hiyori Yama." It's Hiyori Mountain, which is another area totally wiped out, devastated, nothing left. When the taxi driver arrived there, however, the man had disappeared. The 7 drivers' accounts cannot easily be dismissed, and this is the evidence I'm talking about. I usually read a lot of these and think, hokey as hell. This is BS. I don't believe about 99.9% of what I read and tell you stories about. But listen to this. Listen to this. The driver's accounts cannot be easily dismissed as simple illusions. That is because if a passenger climbed into their taxi, the driver has to start the meter, and it is recorded. If the passengers were indeed ghosts, they were still counted as riders. As a result, the drivers were forced to pay their fares. Now that sucks. I don't think you would lie about something that would cost you your own money. Some of the 7 drivers jotted down their experiences in their driver's logs. Now, a lot of them keep receipt logs. Of course, they have to show their daily intake of passengers. But they also keep logs, and these are usually for their own good as far as, staying criminally safe and stuff like that in case someone tries to attack them, steal their money, etc. So, One of the drivers showed his report, which noted that there was a fare that went unpaid. As the ghosts the drivers encountered were all youthful, it is believed that they could be the spirits of the victims of 2011 disaster. One driver said, "Young people feel strongly chagrined," and by chagrined he means like connected or spiritually connected, "at their death, when they cannot meet the people that they love. As they want to convey their bitterness, they may have chosen taxis because they are like private rooms, just like a medium would use a small room to contact the dead." What impressed Kudo, and Kudo is the researcher of all this, was that the drivers did not have any fear towards the ghost passengers, but held them in reverence. They regarded the encounters as important experiences to be cherished. The taxi drivers were feeling the daily sorrow of the residents in Ishinomaki, where many people were killed by the tsunami. One said that he had lost a family member in the disaster. Another said, "It is not strange to see a ghost here. If I encounter a ghost, I will accept it as my passenger." Kudo came from Akita Prefecture, which was not struck by the tsunami. Before interviewing the taxi drivers, she had only thought of the victims as thousands of people who had died in the disaster. Through the interviews, I learned that the death of each victim carries importance, she said. I want to convey that to all the people who read this report. Excellent story, excellent bit of evidence. Probably one of the most believable stories I have ever researched or read online about ghosts in Japan. Alright guys, our next section is going to be a new little section I'm going to add on to every week of this show because it is a great little thing everybody always asks me about, and that is yokai. This section is going to be called Know Your Yokai. And to know your yokai, I have used two different references. Number one, Yokai Attack. Yokai Attack is written by Hiroko Yoda and Matt Alt. And Aghora at the Left Hand of God. Both of these books are great for learning about demons in Asia in general. Ghosts, demons, onryo, yokai, all different types of creepy creatures. Now, the special point, or the point that I have been requested to do the most, that I'm going to volunteer to do for every episode of this, is draw my own version of every yokai. So the art that you're going to be seeing is my own original art. That's the great thing about this, because that means I don't have to use the books, or I don't have to look online, or I don't have to worry about someone hitting me with a copyright strike. The parts of this book that I'm going to read are only excerpts. They're not the whole book, because I want you to purchase the book if you really like these different excerpts. I would like that you please purchase these and check them out if you want to learn more about these monsters. Don't just wait for me to try and read the whole book, because I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make up my own little versions of these and kind of paraphrase parts of these books to tell you more about these creatures, their habitat, their environment, and what the scariest parts of them are. So with that said, let's jump right in. Alright, the first one we have for this week is called Akaname. Now, Akaname literally translate would be like the red lick, but it has other names that you could hear in English, such as bathtub liquor, filth liquor, and one that I'd actually heard online as well when I researched this was called Eater of Dead Skin. It's pretty gruesome, although some people hold it to be kind of a funny one. It's a demon in the most simplest synopsis that licks the dead skin left over in your bathtub, and it's mostly used as a way to get kids to clean the bathtub. It's used to scare kids. Most of these demons are often used to scare small children into either behaving or doing tasks or chores around the house. Now, let me read just some stats on it. Gender is unknown. Height is usually 5 feet or 150 centimeters. Weight is average of small adult. Tongue length is up to 1 foot or 30 centimeters. It is a bipedal demon. Distinctive features: long tangled hair, unnaturally tinted skin, often reddish in color, hence the name Aka, meaning red. Often quite feral looking. Long pointed tongue. Favorite food: dead skin or mildew. Offensive weapons: none. Abundance prevalent. Habitat: filthy bathrooms. Claim to fame: this creature comes with the flush complexion of one who's just stepped out of a hot bath. and an insatiable desire to dine on the scummy residues that build up in around tubs. If you neglect your bathroom cleaning duties, you'll increase your chances of running into this disgusting character. If you want to understand the akaname, you need to understand the setup of the traditional Japanese bathroom. Generally, bathrooms in Japan are just that, rooms for bathing and nothing else, with toilets regulated to their own separate room in the house, although many modern apartments and hotels use unit baths that also contain the toilet. The separated layout remains common in Japanese homes nonetheless. In times of old, these bathtubs were built out of wood and often housed in their own structures separate from the main house. Poor air circulation resulted in dampness and humidity that made the closed-in spaces ideal habitats for all sorts of creepy crawlers during the warmer months. Those who used the facilities in the summer were often had to brave encounters with snails, slugs, worms, bugs, spiders, and toads. The akaname appears in these kinds of bathrooms late at night, living up to its quite literal name, licking the slime aka out of dirty bathtubs. They are usually soap scum, mildew, and tub-ring eaters. Talk about needing a cast iron stomach. Our movie today, again, is one that is not a Japanese movie. I believe this one was made in England, but I could be wrong about that. And it is called Horsehead. Horsehead is a movie that deals with lucid dreaming and nightmares. Those of you who are big into movies that are based around dreams and the darkness that they can bring and the horror symbols and different sort of deep dream meanings that can be wound and weaved into different types of horror will love this movie. If you are big into reading about nightmares like I am, or experiencing the very strange and surreal aspects of a lucid dream, you will love this movie. It starts out a little bit cheesy just due to the fact that you do see the horse head creature within the first, I believe, couple minutes of the movie. And I remember I tried to watch it one time while just seeing that and thought, wow, that looks really cheesy, and I didn't watch the rest. Later, I was kind of desperate for a movie to watch, thought I'd give it a second try, watched it all the way through, and realized after I got past that part, it was great. The only thing I will say is its ending does leave a little bit to be desired as far as you're kind of left hanging, so I guess be ready for that. But I don't want to give away any spoilers other than that. Just know that the dreams that they create, the worlds that they create with this sort of surreal, lucid state is just beautiful, beautiful horror. And beautiful horror is something that we are going to follow through with our second recommendation. The game for this week is Soma, which is, again, not a Japanese game. Soma was a 2015 release from Frictional Games, the makers of Amnesia: The Dark Descent. You might know them also for Penumbra as well, two great horror classics. Amnesia even more so because it is known throughout all of horror gaming as one of the scariest games ever created. If you don't know about those two, you should definitely check them out as well. But just that being said, let me tell you, this game is also its own beautiful creation. Now, those of you who were expecting, I guess, Amnesia 3 after A Machine for Pigs, you might be a bit disappointed because it is its own beast. It is its own thing. It's its own creation. There are some aspects as far as running away from monsters that are kind of the same, but the whole hide in darkness thing and make sure you have a light type thing are gone. Those elements are gone. You are in an underwater futuristic base that has been built to help humanity create a sort of hard drive or downloadable virtual world for them to download their consciousness in to survive beyond the destruction of planet Earth. A giant meteorite is heading for the surface of Earth that will eventually destroy and kill everyone, and it is your job as the protagonist to be reborn in a new body, and I won't tell you how or I'll ruin the plot, and look for this launching machine that will launch this downloadable, this hard drive, this virtual world into space and get it away from this now destroyed planet. You are one of the few living beings left on Earth, if you can even call yourself that, because you get into a lot of existential conundrums in this. It will make you question, who am I? Why do I exist? What is the purpose of my existence? if I'm able to download my existence and put it into another contraption, device, human, body, machine, whatever, is it another me? And is that other me the same person? Is that other me existing beyond me? If I can continue to create more of myself, and as far as my thoughts, memories, am I living forever? And it gets into so many different forking paths of that aspect that I don't want to ruin it anymore by explaining too much more of the plot, other than that it is a beautiful, beautiful story. It is deep, it is dark, it is sad beyond belief. The ending nearly moved me to tears, and if you like a very well-written game that doesn't base itself around non-stop gore, shooting, FPS action, then this game is for you. Soma. Guys, thank you again so much for tuning in to another episode of OSOROSHII Saturday. Until next week, I hope you enjoyed everything you saw here today. Again, if you did, please hit that like button, please subscribe, and please comment. Share this video whenever and wherever you can on all sorts of social network sites. The more it gets seen, the more I make episodes, the more you get to enjoy OSOROSHII Saturday!